Hello, hi, and welcome, dear viewers, as we get to this next prologue for Blood of the Covenant, A Helping Hand. So let us introduce you to our singular helping vampire today, Ramos the Nomad.
Hello, everyone. I am Gilbert Ramos, aka Ramos the Nomad, everywhere on all the social media. Tonight, I have the pleasure of being Velasco Zavala Osorio Lozano.
And that mouthful is certainly pleasurable, like all mouthfuls tend to be. Also, of Clan Samis, since Gilbert didn't say anything about
Indeed,
it.
yes.
And I, as you've seen, am going to be the storyteller for this Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle here in Charleston, West Virginia. So without any further ado or any further introduction, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Dusk is a strange thing in Appalachia. Dusk is that time where blur between what is and what might be becomes all too real. And it is in that very vein that deep in what is the Kanawha State Forest outside of Charleston is where we begin. An old structure, it's not on any maps or surveys. A barn deep in the woods that used to be a part of someone's homestead back before this was ever a state forest. Velasco, this is where your sire, Vivian, havens. Of course, getting out here is a bit of a bear. You got out of the trunk of that car that you drove out here around dusk, started the trek in, and it's now easily almost 11 o'clock at night. Tell me, does Velasco find it unnerving?
I think even now, I wouldn't necessarily say he finds it unnerving. It's more so he knows he's being watched. He commonly has this mindset of I am the land, but he knows it's not really true. It's not him, it's her. And at any given time, she could be around the corner, she could be on with the wind, the trees, smoking a cigarette, she could be part of the embers. So I think that he's just aware that he's never alone.
In fact, you doubly get that feeling as a few of Vivian's favored famulus, of which she has many bonded famuli. A few of her favorites. A fox named Copper, and a crow called Rook. Each come to greet you. Rook flying down from a tree nearby, and Copper darting out from a bush and trying to tangle up in your feet.
Well, hello there, little ones.
Are you using Feral Whispers?
I do not have feral whispers.
Interesting. Good to know. So you speak to them, they kind of curve their head in recognition. Rook starts trying to pull your glasses off, as he is often wont to do, but he's a little thief. Can't be helped.
Yes, I will remove a bracelet to satiate him in his endeavors.
He kind of plays with it in his beak for a moment. before he flies off up into the tree again, and Copper continues to walk with you as you make your way to this barn that you see up ahead of you. It's no sooner than you walk into what was probably once a clearing but is now high overgrown with weeds nearly up to your waist, Velasco, that the doors begin to open. You see her grungy fingers coming out from between the doors as they push open. And of course, Vivian is what a lot of people imagine vampires to look like. She's gaunt and thin and very pale. Her long black hair is dirty and matted in some places. As soon as she pushes the doors open, she kind of scrunches down and walks on the fronts of her fingers and the balls of her feet. She moves very much like the more primitive ape relatives of the human race move. She makes her way over to you in this feral shuffle. Smells you. I didn't think you was gonna get out of the city tonight.
Remove my hat. Good evening, ma'am. No, it was an endeavor in and of itself.
But you came. Did you feel my desire to speak with you in your blood?
I did, as I always do.
Perhaps there is some hope for you yet.
To what, might I inquire, is the topic of discussion tonight, ma'am?
You do know that we are not bound leash and collar thee and me. Yet I would have something that I would ask of you.
If it is within my purview, if it is within my ability to give, who am I to deny?
You would be an anarch to deny.
Quite a rude one at that. You have given me many gifts.
You were all too apt to learn them. The Baron of Kanawa City. I've pledged my service to him.
Now that is surprising.
The spirits say that war's coming. I seen my share of wars, Velasco.
I take it then we have chosen a side.
I've chosen a side to keep my eye on. As you know, the Baron of South Charleston, that gangrel Scarlet Moon, I don't quite feel the need to keep an eye on her. She moves in the light of the moon. That minister over there in Kanawa City, well, I don't quite know what to make of him.
And it is your intention to make a summary judgment.
It is my intention for you to get the Baron of the Man. Pardon my phrasing.
What will you have with me?
Well, he wants to meet with you. I told him you are a dab hand at extracting information. And it's come to his attention that there could be a leaky faucet in his domain.
Oh, well, that is quite a shame.
Well, you know what they say. A leaking faucet's only a problem for those that are so fancy they got indoor plumbing.
And I suppose I play the plumber in this scenario.
If you wouldn't mind. But just know,
Happy to.
there ain't no indoor plumbing out this way.
I had indeed noticed. Happy to oblige. What is the, Have you had the pleasure of meeting with this Baron?
I met him once, a long time ago, back when that Conway City was still called Owens. Back. Back 1920s way. It's right after I was embraced.
I see.
Met him and his sire, Rob Dufed.
Mr. Dufert, I recall... If I recall, you spoke of him once.
Oh, yes. A Setite. Well, they don't call themselves that no more. From my understanding, his presence no longer graces the soil of Charleston.
I see.
Once I returned from my travels with my sire, I never did feel Mr. Dufed's presence ever again. And of course, you've heard these stories that Vivienne tells of her time with her sire Marcus. That Vivienne did not have the luxury of your embrace, where the Anarchs had already sided with Semis, or rather vice versa. She was embraced by the Sabbat. She was a shovelhead that was essentially dragged into a long conflict over Atlanta, Georgia, before she faked her death and managed to get back home.
These Setites, I think he'll just leave it at that and continue a separate train of thought. To when is he expecting me?
Tonight, some odd hour.
I see.
Are you familiar with the bastion that he has built for himself?
That little church he has.
Yeah. Down there off McCorkle Avenue.
I would hardly call that a bastion.
You'll see. The earth speaks differently. Listen to the whispers of the stone and the soil.
I will be on my best behavior.
I very highly doubt that.
Well, I wouldn't want to go making a bad impression. Least of all if I was suggested through your means.
You don't look like you fed tonight. And with that, would you please make me 2 rouse checks?
Absolutely, absolutely. 2 successes.
So you are sitting in 1 hunger.
I am as peckish as always, but I will have a small sip of something before I leave. Just to keep a tight lid on things.
She kind of shuffles back around and begins to move back into the barn. And as she does, you see that suspended from a rope upside down from one of the main banisters in here, one of the main ceiling beams, there's a man. He's got kind of a red and black flannel. You see there's a fur insulated cap that has fallen to the ground beneath him. There's a gun in the corner that it seems like Vivian has snapped. He says, I do so love finding poachers in the state forests. It's one of the grand luxuries of living out this way.
It's incredible how often you do find them. You know, they think that they might learn. They might hear stories.
You know what they say. Just wave something in front of them and they think about the carrot and not the stick.
May I?
She just kind of holds her hand up, gesturing towards him.
I will approach. Is he conscious?
If so, he's not cognizant of what's happening to him. His eyes are kind of flickering open and shut, but he's probably been hanging upside down for too long. This man's probably going to start experiencing like some serious health issues, probably a stroke.
I will approach him, just not exactly whisper, but just kind of speak softly to him as I do. Now, there are laws to which all must abide, good sir. And unfortunately, that for you, with your choices, you've come here today, now must abide by an entirely separate set of laws. Can you... I don't suppose you can understand me. I don't suppose you are lucid enough to really understand, no. We'll kind of turn him to look at me. Incredible how quickly our circumstances change. The laws of nature change us from the top of the food chain. I hope that if you find yourself free, though I do doubt it, you will remember your true place in the balance of these lands. Excuse me, sir. And I will move in and just take a bit from him.
There's only something interesting with the blood that Vivian chooses to procure. And it's that even over a day after she caught this one, the taste of the fear is still so strong. Even in this mostly unconscious state that he's in, the taste of the fear so strong, like she had maybe just caught him. It's astounding. You're not quite sure how she does it. As you pull away, she sides up to you. I think I'll cut him down. And I think I'll hunt him again tonight.
It certainly would be fitting.
You should get home. You got a meeting to keep.
Indeed, I do. Thank you for your hospitality.
She nods. I'll leave you with these as parting words. If you ever betray me, Velasco, have the courage to do it to my face. I don't want to hear about it from someone else. The spirits of the wind. You understand me?
Yes, ma'am. If I ever had the thought cross my mind, I'd give you at least a week's notice.
Good. And she holds her hand up and wind rushes, shutting the door between the two of you.
Always a pleasure.
Indeed. Heading back to your vehicle. The spirits of the land do seem agitated. There is... The earth grumbles beneath your feet. The wind carries some shrill sound from the south. You can feel the primordial pressure building.
Interesting. This is a new sensation, I take it.
Yeah. You've never felt anything like this before. And maybe it took getting out of the city to really feel it.
Now what's got you all in a tizzy? Are Famulus nearby still? Like, or whether within eyesight, I
Yeah,
should say.
Copper's still walking with you.
Yeah. I will keep my ear to the ground, as it were, as I walk. I'm going to I prepared something for this inevitable meeting. The mindset of being this close to the formerly the Setites. I prepared something small, and we'll see. I'd like to see if this Baron, what he makes of it. So, for the first time, I would like to return home and bring Solus with me.
Sure, yeah. It takes you about another hour and a half to get back to your car. It's a little after midnight at this point. And you head back to your home. Tell us what we see as you pull up.
It's a decent sized home. It's not anything to really write home about. I mean, it's land. It's a 1-story building. It's small. It's just a small house. Nothing terribly fancy or inviting or ostentatious on the exterior. There's an empty flagpole, a garden that likely is similarly empty, needs tending to. At least something planted, but No, it's not anything really to write home about until you get inside.
And as we head inside, what do we see?
Much like there's an experience for those of us that have spent time with our grandmothers or our great-grandmothers that have the antiques and all of these random knickknacks. There's an older style of decorating where you wouldn't really leave much wall space. He's gathered things from all over, from specifically this area. Old plaques. Some of them are old street signs and things like that, and then others go further back to his heritage. He finds his heritage very important. His name is Spanish, specifically of Basque origin, and so he's gathered what he can from this area and from what he can gather from his retainers, things from Spain, and specifically the region which the Basque people call home.
An interesting, eclectic collection of things that you've brought together. And I think as you do so, and you kind of hear the rapping of claws against the linoleum floor as your famulus comes running for you, I think we might find ourselves drawn back to the memory of finding this particular creature. You remember you were on the 60. You'd just done an errand over in Riverview, and you were coming back on the 60 across the river. And a tractor trailer jackknifed, crashed on the bridge across the river. But when the doors busted open after it jackknifed, it was somebody smuggling exotic animals. So tell our dear viewers what exotic little creature comes running out of the unused kitchen.
He is a tiny, little light-furred mongoose. Having found him and dug deeper, I think that Velasco, having not a whole lot of experience with animals, has done some light research. He thinks he might be of something of the golden mongoose variety, but he's a little darker than that specific breed. So he's just, as far as Velasco knows, just a mongoose, maybe with a lighter color palette, or perhaps he's a golden mongoose, in fact.
This little mongoose Solus comes running out, runs up the leg of your pants, up your shirt, and onto your shoulder.
Hello, little one. You made yourself a terror while I was away.
You do see that there's a little bit of blood around his mouth.
Now, what did you find?
And kind of backtracking across, you see that somewhere he found a living chicken, killed it, and dragged it in to the house.
Now, you opportunistic little creature. I'd expect you to finish it if you want to bring it home.
It looks like he tore it open and got the majority of the innards eaten, and then has found himself gorged at this point, and will most likely revisit it later in the evening if allowed the opportunity.
Well, you've made a little bit of a mess, but that's your nature, so I can't fault you too much. But in the future, dragging it across the house is untoward. Just remain in one room, preferably the kitchen, if you would. And I will pick up the carcass and bring it to the to the kitchen, and kind of set it in his area, despite his lack of experience with animals. He's taken to Solus quite well. He has kind of babied him a little bit. He has a little dish. He has two separate dishes. He has a running water fountain that constantly keeps the water moving. He's heard that that's helpful to pets. Yeah, this creature is well cared for.
Yeah, for sure. And I think with that, knowing that you have an appointment to keep, you gather Solus and head off to the Blood of the Covenant Church of Christ. Of course, like I said, driving through Kanawa City where you live, it's generally a kind of tired neighborhood. Of course, there's UC, the University of Charleston, a private university in the northwestern part of corner of Kanawa City. You pass by a few auto body shops, a 7-Eleven, a few cheap, shitty motels. It's quiet. I think that's a good word for Kanawa City. If you're not up by UC and the hospital, because the largest branch of the Charleston's system of hospitals is here in Kanawa City as well. If you're not up in that northwest corner of Kanawa City, it's pretty quiet. And especially once you turn off of McCorkle Avenue and start to take a dirt road back, you pass a sign. It's rotting, broken down, barely hanging on. It's probably painted white once with the weird stick-in board letters. This is Blood of the Covenant Church of Christ, but the T is now fallen and turned upside down to look like an inverted cross. As you pull to the back of the lane, there is a small place to park cars. It's overgrown, but you see that there are places where people have parked here recently.
Take the closest spot to the church that I can.
And much as our lovely overlay here shows, this place has fallen down. It's mostly decayed, though as you approach, the spirits of the air carry the warmth of the spirits of fire out of the inside of this place. You get the feeling that very, very recently, the spirit of fire was very alive inside of this place. And even as you get out of the vehicle, you can feel that the spirits of the stone and of the soil hide many, many secrets here. This place is drenched in blood.
No one is outside, though, just yet. Correct?
Correct.
If I might use the powers of Voldonic sorcery to expand my my own senses. The cost, for detail, if you want to read along, it's on page 61 in Blood Sigils.
Why don't you go ahead and read it for our dear viewers?
For sure. Having taken my first stat of blood sorcery and Coldonic sorcery, I have attuned myself with certain elements, forming a bond, creating a wound and plunging the vitae into said element, the first element chosen being earth. I created a blood bond with that element. Is essentially kind of the vibe. And with that, I can extend my perception, extend my senses a number of ranges depending on how much damage I'm willing to take, essentially, by reopening that wound and re-plunging it into that element. The cost would be 1 rouse check. and depending on how far I want to extend my senses, is how many aggravated health points I take, essentially.
Sure.
Um,
All right, then. Make me that rouse check first.
for sure. Success.
All right. Now, how many levels of aggravated health wounds would you like to take?
Well, I'd like to extend senses into the church, if possible. So how... The options are 15 meters, 90 meters, 500 meters, 1.5 kilometers, and 8 kilometers. I don't imagine that we'd be much farther than maybe the 90-meter mark.
So you're going to go for 90 meters.
Yes, if I could take two points of aggravated damage for that.
Sure. As you reopen this wound, acquainting the earth again with your blood, Velasco, the spirit of the earth responds. It responds with feelings of shame, maybe. Feelings of disgust, feelings of alienation, feeling alienated from itself. Something is happening in the earth here that the earth does not recognize. That is so alien to the spirits of the earth and the way that they are simply by existing. There's something happening here so alien to them, they are ashamed that it is occurring within them.
If I might, since I can extend my senses through the chosen element being Earth this time around, is there anything... I'm essentially snooping is what I'm up to. So is there anything of note going on inside the church? Anyone speaking, whispering secrets or anything like that? Anything crazy I should be concerned of?
We'll start with inside the church. Yes. Inside the church, you can feel thudding softly as the air connects with the dirt beneath the wood floor. You can feel someone pacing. However, it's following that vibration deeper. You feel a mass of tunnel structures that have been carved beneath this earth. Extending your senses through them, and it does explicitly say senses, plural. You begin to follow through these tunnels. You feel you feel a pressure in the air in one place, the smell of chemicals, something cooking, pressure in the air. It's strange. It feels like maybe a laboratory of some kind. As you follow further, the pressure in the air changes from being physical to metaphorical as you follow, and you feel that there is a den of hundreds of snakes under this church. You can feel the pressure of so many dangerous animals in the same room. Following just a little bit further, just at the edge of your 90-meter awareness, that pressure soon changes to hedonistic relief, excess, human pleasure, hear the sounds of people engaged in all types of carnal acts of all levels of deviation. You know now why the spirits are ashamed. They're being forced to witness something entirely outside of their will, of their existence, something human, this idea of pleasure and excess, and the spirits here are put off by it, at the very least.
Well, I will withdraw my senses. And just whisper down to Solus. Well, there's enough in there for you to have a feast, but I feel you might be a bit outnumbered, so let's wait until you're offered one up.
He just kind of turns his head, and the door to the church opens, and you see a man, tall, about 6'3", but freakishly thin, almost like this caricature of maybe the dangers of heroin use that might have been in a 90s commercial. He's gaunt, with these deep brown eyes that are like neutron stars. They pull you in. He has a corncob pipe hanging out of his mouth. He's dressed in kind of browns and creams. He says, well, now you would not happen to be one Velasco now, would you?
I would.
Oh, well, praise him. Welcome. I am Baron Elliot Vicenza. It is my utmost pleasure to greet you.
The pleasure is all mine, sir. I will give a bow. I understand you were expecting me.
Oh, yes. Your sire and I have known each other for a great many years, and she has pledged her service to me in the form of you.
In the form of me, you say?
Well, at the very least, your services. I do hope you will find yourself of willing body and mind and spirit to stay here in this veritable utopia that is Kanawa City.
I would have to inquire about the goings-on, but I'm certainly not opposed. Forgive me, this, sir, is Solus. Say hello, Solus. I will take him from my shoulder and present him.
My, a hunter of serpents. You know we do snake handling here at this church, sir. That is a cheeky thing you've done. Hey.
I don't imagine he's seen many snakes since his relocation, so I figured a night out with him might do him some good.
Oh, well. Snakes are much less of our iconography these days, as you can see. And he kind of gestures to the church. Now,
Amen.
Amen indeed. I did not know you were one of the faith. I had assumed you were among of the non-believers. But perhaps that teaches me I ought not assume.
There's a truth in all of the stories. I would prefer to keep my worship to a closer extent.
And I wonder, what truth will there be in your story? In fact, truth is the nature of why I asked your sire, who then sent you. I have a man inside, someone who is once a part of my flock. And I get the distinct impression that he has spoken to someone about my alternative methods of worship.
You think he's talked a bit too much?
Oh, well, you know how one can get when they sup at the lips of the bottle and not at the word of the Lord.
Indeed.
Now, if you wouldn't mind, your sire tells me that you are something of an, what did she say? Information specialist.
I do indeed procure a great deal of information from a varying degree of sources, both willing and unwilling.
Well then, I would much like for you to prove that this is the case.
Happily, sir. It wouldn't do well to lie in a church, so I imagine he'll find himself a bit more loose-tongued.
We shall see. I've been employing my usual methodology to no effect. Please. And he holds the doors to the church open to you.
Thank you, sir. I will step in.
You can see from where you're entering, this place is no better off on the inside than it is on the outside. The rafters are filled with cobwebs. You can hear the fluttering of bats in the steeple. It's warm in here. There were definitely, and you see a bunch of candles around here that were definitely lit maybe 40 minutes ago. And you see, with a kind of battery-powered spotlight on him, a man tied up in a chair, kind of at the base of the dais which leads up to the altar.
Might I inquire, Baron? You mentioned that you had employed your typical means of information procurement. Might I ask what those are so I don't find myself repeating unnecessary steps?
Well, I did use my wiles as a minister. Seems he is unfazed by the methods of my presence.
For shame.
I fear he may have been tampered with.
Oh. Now that is interesting. Might I have a bit of information myself from you, sir?
Would be counterproductive were I not to provide.
The subject, is he of the mortal persuasion?
Yes, he is. He was a part of my, I believe the term you will use is herd, though I prefer congregation.
I see. So sad to see a man turn away from his God, his church, his community.
For shame.
And you said you think he may be tampered with. Is there any indication as to what means or method?
If there were, I would have led with that, my good sir.
Excellent. Well, I will not bother you with more questions. I have a job to do.
You don't mind if I watch. I do enjoy watching.
Well, I would insist, sir.
He moves to sit in a pew in the front row.
We'll approach the man who, I take it, is still lucid.
He is.
Good evening, sir. I don't suppose you know who I am.
Just shakes his head.
I hate to ask this, but they haven't taken your tongue, have they?
No.
Well, that's good. It would be counterproductive to our conversation. My name is Velasco. You heard that name before?
Shakes his head.
Might I inquire as to what I might call you tonight?
Dominic. Dominic Flynn.
Dominic Flynn. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Now, Mr. Flynn, I trust you know why I'm here.
Just kind of meets your gaze for a moment.
Dalbert, indeed. No answer to that question either. How is that treating you? Your continued silence.
Better than it's treating the priest.
I believe proper term is minister, is it not, sir?
Well, my oh my, far be it from me to unjustly insert myself, but yes, the term is minister.
There you have it, Dominic. You see, words I find, are very important. Now, trust me when I say the following words to you. I am not going to hurt you, at least not yet. I am in a precarious situation. I find myself conflicted. When you say priest, I'm harking back to my own prior religious upbringing. Roman Catholic, before I absconded from the church. You see, I couldn't rightly justify worshipping the religion of my colonizers. See, I trace myself back to people in the Basque region. Do you know Basque? It's in Spain.
He shakes his head.
It's the original, the indigenous peoples of that area before Catholicism took the country by storm. It was, obviously, you've heard of Reformation and the Catholic sweeps and all that. But my point in telling you this is, I'm not going to hurt you, because while I am fortunately no longer a man of this faith, I still feel a pull. This place, iconography or no, is holy, Dominic. And so to do something untoward or unjust, to bring about blood or to wound you in any such way, would put my spirit at odds, and I don't like my spirit being at odds.
You think this place is holy?
Do you not?
No, man. This is just another one of them traps. What the devil built.
The devil, you say?
Yeah. The devil's like you.
Oh, dear boy. I'm no devil. I have the pleasure of descending from something far worse.
Yeah. Sharp-dressed man with the fancy glasses and the nice trimmed facial hair walks into a church and says he's not the devil. You got some sense of a fucking joke, man.
Now, you don't know me, Dominic, so I'm going to give that a pass, but as I say, being in this place harkens me back to my own Catholic upbringing, and I was raised that we do not swear in such places. So I'll ask that you refrain. Can we agree to that, Dominic?
He nods.
Good. come to an understanding, at least on something. It seems to me you are having a crisis of faith. You are part of the congregation here, were you not?
You know I was.
Mm. Now, what could lead a man such as yourself, someone so learned in the ways of the devil and faith, turn him away from his flock? Could lead you down a darker path?
I've seen the works of the Lord. I see this place for what it is now. A trap from the devil.
Now you say that. That's twice you've said it. I don't truly know what you stand to be accused of. All I understand is that you've turned away from this place. Would you care to elaborate your accusations? The accusations leveled against yourself?
Oh, you think I'm here because they got something to allege me of? Nah, that
Well,
ain't why you're here, man. You're here because he wants to know who the hell I talk to.
Well, I imagine that a minister would be concerned for his flock.
Yeah. His flock of blackened goats, 'cause there ain't a single snow white lamb amongst them.
Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Dominic, no one is without sin. No one is without a bit of that black fleece.
And yet still, God uses flawed men.
Amen. Would you count yourself a flawed man, Dominic?
All men are.
Amen. So these people you've talked to, I'm sure you can count them amongst the flawed as well. What makes you so sure that you're not running from... I'll look over to the Baron. Forgive me, but let's indulge you for a moment. You run from the arms of one devil. What's to say you're not running into the arms of another? Don't you find concern in the unknown?
I know what it is like to be in the presence of a Gideon.
Of a Gideon? Do please elaborate. I have not had the pleasure.
Gideon was the king who led them wise tribes of Judah into battle against their foes. He didn't drown them in sin. You know when you're in the presence of a flawed man and the Spirit of the Lord dawns upon him to do the Lord's work.
I understand. You've had not a crisis of faith, but a reaffirmation, it seems, of religious experience.
I've simply found a leader who believes what they preach. He stands up. How dare you, good sir? I believe every word I preach. Remember, son, there is no depth of sin to which you could fall that his grace cannot reach you.
Baron, if you'll forgive me, I recognize that I'm in your house. But I must request in this moment at the very least, that you lead me to my work, seen and not heard, as it were.
He'll sit back down.
I apologize for his outburst, Dominic, but you understand men of faith. If it's called into question, there is a mighty urge, as you can see, to defend it.
You want?
Answers, that's all, Dominic. I want to know, much like our minister, who you've been talking to. What pulled you away? I don't have much stake in this game, you see. But I would like to know. And I would like not to hurt you. Because rest assured, and as a man of faith yourself, I'm sure you can understand that lying in a church is something else entirely different. But trust me when I say, if I need to, I will hurt you. Like Christ, I will test you for 40 days and 40 nights. I have infinite patience. I am attuned to this place, not just this church, but to the very land you walk. I will toil with you. I will let you loose. I will hunt you. I will find you in the wild, like Satan himself found Christ. For 40 days and 40 nights I will test you. I will wound you. I will tempt you. And I'm sorry, Dominic. You are not Christ. You will fall. It will take time. You might resist up to 39 days. But I will have what I need. I don't want to hurt you, Dominic. I don't want to hunt you. I don't fashion myself a devil. But I will play this role if need be. Don't make me the devil, Dominic. I beg you in this house of the Lord. Don't make me Satan.
Well, that's the thing with you vampires. You're devils all the time.
A beast, sir. Not a devil. Not all the time. Pray with me, Dominic.
As you ask that question, would you like to pray with me? We'll go ahead and go to our very quick tech and bio. Hello and welcome back. I'm sure some praying happened in this brief interlude, but now, what is the phrase? We must engage in the unpleasantry.
It wounds me deeply to continue doing this. Release us both. Bring us into salvation. You are a man of God, so therefore I must beg you, I implore you, I pray. Deliver me from this evil, Dominic.
There are many of us who know what you creatures are.
Go on.
The circle of the sun will find you.
The circle of the sun. Dominic, I don't suppose you will elaborate. I know how much strength this took you.
It's in this moment that you feel movement behind you. And then a hand on your shoulder. I think I've seen enough, Velasco.
At your leisure, sir. Dominic, there's a verse that springs to mind for you, my dear boy. Psalm 56:8. God collects every tear that is shed, and I have given him much of you tonight. Now I believe it is in the hands of your minister how much more he is to receive of you. Go in peace. This mass has ended.
Hello, Sam. Let me walk you to your car.
Thank you, sir.
And as the two of you walk out of this ruined church back into the moonlight, Elliot pulls that corncob pipe out of his jacket, sticks it in his mouth, lights a match, lights it, and then tosses the match away. Interesting work you do. I may come of use of it more often, though I hope that's not the case.
I would be happy to oblige. I must confess, I did mean every word I said. The iconography, the trappings of a church hold something strange on my soul, though again I am not a man of your faith. So if I could inquire about a separate work area, if that would please you.
I think we might be able to come to some sort of arrangement on space to perform the necessary evils.
Much appreciated. And of course, you are always welcome to oversee.
I'll have one of my associates, most likely my dear child Locke, reach out to you with details on where you might be able to continue this work.
Thank you, sir. This, Circle of the Sun, I could have pressed more, but you stopped me. Might I inquire as to why?
I think you might already know the answer to that question.
It seems you know of them. If I am to be of service, I think a level of understanding, a level of comfort might be required between the two of us. Is this circle something I should be concerned with?
I think you've misjudged me. A rare thing. Usually people hit the nail on the head. I've never heard of this Circle of the Sun before. But you got him to relent. That's all I needed. You opened the door for me, dear Velasco, so that now, much like the Lord's warmth and light into my heart, I can now walk in to open doors, for my Father's house has many, many rooms.
Amen. Do I believe him to be truthful in this moment, or do I think he might be lying about knowing about the circle?
Give me, what's your insight?
May I use my specialty, detect lies?
Sure.
It is 5 with a crit.
He appears to be telling the truth.
Understood. I hope that, the open door is a sufficient open for you, Minister. I hope that, whatever you decide to do with him, it brings you peace.
I'm always at peace, for the Lord walketh with me.
What fortunate circumstances you have.
Go with God, my son.
Good evening, Minister.
He bows his head to you and heads back inside.
We'll take Solus back to the car. There's still no one around at the exterior.
You see that after sitting in your car for a moment, the door opens again, and a younger looking woman, kind of sandy blonde hair, leather jacket, shirt cut at the midriff, jean shorts, and pretty tall boots, comes out, sits down on the stairs, and lights up a cigarette.
She, it's difficult to tell from this distance. I'll approach her, taking solace with me, actually.
As you approach, she looks up from her seat on the steps. Who the fuck are
Pardon
you?
me, ma'am. Pardon me, ma'am. Noticed your, choice in advice, and I thought I might inquire if you have an extra.
Yeah, I guess. And she opens up a pack of Newports. Holds one out to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Apologies for troubling you. Fine night, though.
Oh God, you even talk like him. What the fuck's your name?
Well, my manners. Velasco Zavallo Sadio Lozano. You can call me Velasco.
Right, Velasco. You're one of them thick bloods, ain't you?
Thick bloods. I suppose. Depending on who you might ask.
That tells me everything I need to know.
Does it now?
Oh, yes, sir, it does.
Might I inquire what your name might be?
Jessica.
Jessica, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Jessica.
Sure.
Now, to what summarized of the viscosity of my vitae, what does that draw conclusions for you?
Don't touch, usually.
Usually.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ashamed to say that these predilections you have must stem from something. You've been treated poorly by my kind before.
Elliott's not bad. He at least lets us get on without much trouble. You know, us duskborn.
Ooh. I always liked that name. Was that the preferred title?
Just call me Jessica.
Jessica. A lovely name.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
You find yourself in Elliot's service often, part of his congregation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. Every night of the week.
Are you a woman of the faith, Jessica?
I used to be. Now it's just
What
work.
happened? What brought about that turn?
You know, they say that if you work in a church, you should have solid footing. It's hard to tend to the spiritual ailments of the people around you when you're not standing on solid ground. And I used to think I was. And now I'm not so sure. The world around me confuses me.
I understand. More than you probably know. More than you would probably be comfortable admitting to yourself.
Because you're an expert in what I would admit to myself.
No. But I'd like to be.
I'm sure you would. Fancy man like yourself.
You think I'm fancy?
Look at you. You got more than one color on your shirt. I think that makes you a fancy man.
Hmm. Suppose around these parts it does.
Hmm.
Do you like it here, Jessica?
It's work. It's work, and it's not like, well, the last city I lived in.
Is that right?
Yeah. Memphis was a bad time.
I haven't been.
Lucky you.
You say this is work, Jessica. But you could always find a different job. There's some part of you that must like it.
I'm good at what I do.
And what is that?
I don't think Mr. Vincenzo would really like me talking about it.
No, we wouldn't want to upset him. We've seen what it's like when he's upset.
You always think you understand until you see it. That's all I've got to say about that.
I understand. Now forgive me, this is Solus. Solus, say hello.
So, a ferret.
A mongoose.
It looks like a ferret. My aunt had ferrets, they stink.
I'll keep him quite clean. Would you like to give him a pet?
She reaches out and kind of scratches the top of his head. Yeah, but that's the issue with ferrets. See, you try and clean them, and then it dries their skin out, and then they make even more oils than before, and then they get real stankin'.
I did not know that.
Fun fact.
I'll have to keep that in mind. I'll have to cross-reference that with what I know of mongooses.
Why the hell ain't they called mongoose?
I don't rightly know. Suppose that's a question for the scholars in the English language. I'll tell you what. I will find that answer for you. And I will get back to you, if you are so inclined to meet with me again.
Well, you know where I work, so it's not really like I can avoid you.
Yes, but I'd prefer our meetings to be more, essential.
Thick bloods don't meet with Duskborn unless they want something, so what's your angle?
I want to know you, Jessica, that's all. You were kind. You didn't have to give me this. I'll hold up the, probably by now half-smoked cigarette. And you make for interesting conversation, and I'm curious about Memphis. There's a number of different things I find curious about you.
Sure.
Where are you, if you don't mind me asking, when you're not at work? So that I might call on you.
Give me your phone.
Happily. And I will do so.
And she puts a number in your phone. You can text me, but I'm usually busy.
I promise I won't be cross if you, take some days or so to reply.
Nights.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get back in there and finish up.
Too right. Did you know, Dominic?
What, you talking about that guy in there?
Yes.
Not well, no. But, I mean, I'd seen him around.
Was he a kind man? Jessica?
Are any men really kind? I'll answer that for you. Not when you're a woman.
A sad philosophy, but a true one indeed.
You have yourself a good night.
Good night, Jessica.
She stands up and heads back inside.
We'll return to my vehicle, but not leave just yet. I would, if I might, reactivate Goldonic Sorcery. The reactivation cost is another rouse check, and I need to take a single point of activated damage.
Go for it.
My hunger rises.
Rising to 2. And so, what is the intended use of this activation of Coldonic Sorcery?
I want to cast my senses once more inside the church. I want to, as strange as it is for us mere mortals to understand, I'll cast my perceptions to both Jessica and to Dominic to see and hear both at their work. I want to see I want to see what happens to Dominic in the next few moments to see if how the minister will resolve this issue, and if he does tonight, then for Jessica, I'd like to see if I can follow her to see her work.
I'll say as you expand your perceptions towards Dominic, as you follow it in, you don't feel him inside the church anymore. You feel his essence has gone below the ground. To what exact end, you're not entirely sure. As it pertains to Jessica, you feel the touch of her fingertips as she runs them along the earthen wall of this tunnel that she walks through under the church. She moves through the earth, feeling those reverberations of each footstep. You lose contact when you hear the sounds of not snake-like hissing, but like gaseous pressure. So when you lose contact.
I will withdraw my senses from the 90-meter radius and return to myself.
That currently puts you at 3 levels of aggravated health damage, yes?
Correct.
Your body has had a toll taken on it. You feel the black creeping into your veins. Feel a bit of pain in the side of your neck, and as you kind of look in the rearview mirror, you can see that the veins up the side of your neck and into your jaw have all turned black.
That's enough for one night, Solus. Thank you for your security.
He kind of hops out of your jacket and runs across the center console into the passenger seat and just kind of makes a little nest for himself.
Let's go. Let's return to the madam and relate what we've discovered.
It's at that point that you feel that knocking at the mental door. What you know to be communicate with the kindred child, a ritual that is available to sorcerers alike.
I'll let the doors swing open so that I can let her in wholly and completely.
I take it your meeting with the serpent was hopefully illuminating, if not satisfactory.
Enlightening as if I had met the Yeshua himself.
It already sounds like he's inside your head. You don't talk like that. Careful not to get tied up in his knots.
He is charming, I'll give him that. But the world around him, the very earth screams for what he does in that church. Something's very, very wrong.
And my suspicions are confirmed. Stay close to him. Earn his indifference.
It will be done. There's something else, though. The gentleman he had me speak with, he said that there were many of him, many that knew of our kind, kindred vampires. They call themselves the Circle of the Sun.
I'm not familiar with that name. Familiar with the imagery. Every time some group of mortals get it all up in their minds that they want to take this world back. This world for humans. This purge the unnatural, slay the unclean. Yeah. They always pick the sun for an emblem.
The shame. I fear this Baron may be unwittingly bringing these would-be crusaders to his very door.
We'll see. Usually, well, let's just say these things have a way of dealing with themselves.
I will be close to him, but I hope you never doubt my loyalties. As I said, if I were to betray you, I'd do the honor of at least giving you a week's notice.
Fair enough, Finn. Be careful not to let him tie you into knots, dear boy.
I've seen men of his works before my eyes were opened. The church, Christ, God himself, they hold no sway over me.
I think your body would beg to differ, my boy. And you feel the connection sever.
He will whisper kind of to himself, a very quiet, a very private sort of affirmation or defiance, I suppose. Body is weak, but I am the land.
think kind of saying that as you kind of pull up to a stoplight. You feel someone approach the driver's side door, and then you hear a knock on the window. And you see a woman, probably in her late 20s, early 30s. Kind of like a little bit of a curly bob of blonde hair. Greenish blue eyes. She looks a little strung out. Short cut top. Kind of fluffy jacket, short skirt. You know the type.
Good evening, ma'am.
You looking for some company, stranger?
What's your name, if I might inquire?
You can call me Dolly.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Dolly. I may be. Would you be inclined to keep me company tonight, Dolly?
You certainly look like you got the money to afford my company.
Twice over, I'd hope.
All right.
I will unlock the door, and there's nothing to clear from the seat or anything like that. Just we'll move the seat as far back as it'll go to give her proper leg space.
Sure.
And open the door from within the vehicle, reaching across.
She gets in, and she says, "Oh, you got a little weasel. Oh, ain't you just the cutest thing?"
Mongoose, actually, but of the same persuasion, yes.
What's his name?
His name is Solus. Means the sun.
Solus. Oh, that's cute. I think my nephew plays a game where that's like a character in the game's name, Solus. I think I heard him yelling about something about an egg.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't much understand.
I don't much play games myself.
I don't know, you look like you might play a few games. She kind of bats her shoulder at you.
I'm very straightforward, unfortunately. But I could be persuaded.
I can be real persuasive.
I look forward to discovering just so.
And do you take her back to your home?
Yes.
All right. She pull up, park the car. She gets out. She says, "Wow, nice place."
It's not terribly extravagant, I apologize, but it is my bastion, my empire, my castle.
Well, it looks like your bushes in your lawn might need a little work. I've got kin that run a lawn care business. I could get you a good deal.
That would be lovely.
All right.
Please.
I'll let him know. Probably send my nephew round sometime, knock on your door, ask you some questions, just, stuff like that.
That would be lovely. You said your nephew?
Yeah. When he's not playing video games, anyway.
I understand. Please do come inside.
She does. She looks around. She says, "Oh, is that a menu from Moe's Diner? That place closed
The
like
very
10
same.
years ago. I missed that place. They had the best cup of black coffee and a stack of flapjacks that you could ever ask for."
They were I believe even in the black coffee, rumored to have sprinkled bits of cinnamon. But that is just a rumor. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know what it was, but Lord, was it magic.
Indeed. I kept a number of mementos from the times when this place was more.
Well, we could make it more again, just the two of us.
At least for tonight. I think that might be something else, yes.
And I need to ask here, is your intent is to feed, yes?
Correct.
Okay. I think we understand. I think we've painted the picture of how that feeding is going to go. I need to know how much you are taking.
During this act, I will, either Velasco will push the limit and pull the line, all the while asking for her confirmation, her consent, asking if it's too much, should we stop, so on and so forth. If she is given that the kiss is sweet and provides elation, really it's up to her how far she goes.
How much blood are you willing to take from her?
I would be willing to take all but the last drop. I would bring her to that lightheaded feeling of anemia, that sort of dizziness that the blood loss brings.
Sure. So I'll say you can reduce yourself to 1 hunger. And there are a few things that I need here. Let's do another wits and insight.
5 successes on a crit.
So I'll say what you notice is her behavior around being bitten seems to suggest that she's conditioned to this sort of thing. You're probably not the first bow she's had with fangs. You get the distinct feeling. 2, as her blood clears your mouth from the second little bite and the third little bite and really kind of eking it out, there's a strange aftertaste to this blood. And it's very similar to that bitter taste when you maybe chewed a pill that wasn't supposed to be a chewable. It's bitter and stringent. Some strange chemical aftertaste in her blood.
You alright, Deli?
And kind of recovering, feeling a little lightheaded herself, she says, I mean, I'm over the moon right now. You don't look happy. Do I need to do more? Do I need to get back on, or?
No, that's quite alright, Dolly. I'm, finding myself feeling a bit, don't want to say ill, but a bit, funny, I suppose.
And you notice as you say the word ill that her head kind of tilts. She says, "Are you alright? You're not making any sense. You're not saying words, and then Velasco, you just feel the lights shut out. The lights behind your eyes, anyway. The last time you fell asleep before... Well, the last time you fell asleep was the last night you were alive. But you feel yourself lose consciousness. Slip off. And another thing that hasn't happened since the nights of your living, you dream. I think in this dream, Velasco, you find yourself confronted. What's a memory from your childhood that inspires fear, Velasco?
I think that would be Velasco's father. A very, man who was very quick to anger, very precise, and a step out of line. There was really one way to do things, and it was the right way or the wrong way, and if it was done the wrong way, then there was going to be punishment for it. Weekly chores and such, which isn't outside the norm, but Velasco's father was very particular about cleaning and dust, and the bottom molding of the bathroom was missed. That little ridge where everyone forgets to just take a paper towel or a rag or something and wipe that little layer of dust. And he had forgotten it in the bathroom around the edge. Mopped, did the mirror, cleaned the sink, but that sort of ridge on that molding he had forgotten, and the beating he received was something to remember. And all the while, his father was keen to repeat, if you do something right first time, you won't have to do it again. Referencing the dust and the beating.
I think the thing that might strike you differently about having that dream this time, this memory of your childhood, is that you don't see your father. You see you as you are now, beating the boy that you were. As that fades away, you wake up the next night. You slept and you dreamed. Dolly's nowhere to be seen. It looks like, as you kind of get up and look through the house, looks like she left her jacket here. She grabbed her purse. She bounced.
Is there anything missing from the home? First of all, I'll check. Solus should be fine. He had that chicken left over, so.
Yeah. It looks like that chicken's starting to smell. It definitely sat in a bowl over the course of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But he's eaten another good portion of it. As far as anything missing from the house, it looks like she looked for a few things, maybe grabbed like a silver belt buckle or something. Nothing too major. It looks like there are objects in your house of great value. none that she recognized to be of great value. She took the things that obviously looked like they were worth something.
Yes, and I imagine she was looking for jewels and cash and things, but...
Yeah. Found very little of any of that.
Well, Dolly will call it an exchange. I'll be keeping your jacket, and I might find you with it later.
As you grab her jacket, you hear a kind of shaking, rattling in the pocket.
Give it a check.
It looks like a prescription pill bottle, but it looks like it's filled with a bunch of different pills. There are some that are, the 2-colored gel pills. There are some that are like pressed powder pills, some that are capsules, There's, in a bunch of different colors, the multicolors, there's greens, there's blues, there's whites, yellows. She's got a small pharmacy in her pocket.
I will set them on the... I will set them on the... it's still in their bottle, lest Solus get a hold of them. Set them on the sink in my bathroom, and make a mental note to sort through them and to ascertain which is which.
It's at that point that you hear a car roll up in the driveway.
What fresh hell is this?
And kind of your bathroom being on the front facing side of the house, just kind of putting your ear to the wall. You hear Dolly's voice talking to someone back and forth. She's like, really, honest, Pete, I had no idea. I don't know what happened to him. I mean, we were just having a meeting, and he just fell down and died. I don't know what happened. You hear, all right, look. Did you give him anything? Do you think he took anything? Did you see him take anything? And she's like, no, I didn't give him, none of my stuff, and I didn't see him take nothing, and he looked sober as a stone, I tell you. And then you hear the door open, and them walking into the house, shutting the door behind them. He's like,
We'll keep it silent.
You hear him say, well, Dolly, at the very least, you did the right thing. You told me, I'll clean this up. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. You're one of my best earners. Just relax. Let me handle it. Everything's gonna be fine. You just sit down in here. Let me go take a look at what's going on, and I'll deal with it. All right.
They're in the house, in the living room or hallway at this point.
It sounds like this man that Dolly called Pete. It sounds like he's walking down the hall towards the bedroom. You hear the leather of the sofa crinkle. It sounds like she sat down in the living room.
I will, I'll wait in my bedroom's bathroom for Pete to enter.
You hear him come in to open the bedroom door. He says, where'd you say he's at, Dolly? You hear a shout back the hall. Laying on the other side of the bed. and you hear him shut the door behind him and begin to move to the far side of the bed from where your bathroom is.
I'll move up behind him, and when he reaches the other side of the bed, put my hand across and over his mouth.
He's going to make a strength athletics here. I think I would like you, Velasco, to make a strength and brawl, if you don't mind.
Excellent. I will be arousing the blood for this, if that's alright.
Sure.
I do not get hungrier. Only 3 successes.
Only one for him. You manage to hold your hand over his mouth as he begins to struggle. He's trying to like hip toss you, like whole nine. You're not going anywhere. I need to know what your goal is here.
Whisper in his ear, "Good evening, sir. Now, I am a man who values his privacy, and you were not invited. Now, what did you bring to deal with little old me? What whispers, what plan did you have to dispose of my rumored corpse?" Removed my hand from his mouth.
And he kind of brushes off of you. Like takes a step back. He says, Listen, man, girl just told me you was taking something, died, overdosed. Just gonna drop your body in the river, man. Take it easy.
And what of my kin? What of this place? I don't suppose you had a means or plan to notify my next of kin, did you?
Well, she said you lived in kind of a hoarder's place, so I didn't figure you had any. No offense. Guy your age being a hoarder, it's not exactly normal.
Who else is here with you?
Just a girl, man. Just Dolly. We were just coming to pick you up, and now none of that really matters. And, hey, man, we're square. All right? I don't want no trouble. I didn't come here to cause no trouble. I was just trying to clear up some trouble for the girl. She's really good. She's good people, man. She was worried. She thought I don't know, she didn't want to call the ambulance because the ambulance brings cops, and, look, man, we were just coming to pick up your body. That's it. And since there's no body, there's no need to fuck around.
Let's let Dolly decide. And I will, cross, kind of ignoring him, out of the room and into the living room to speak with Dolly.
You see she looks up at you wide-eyed. No, you were dead. I felt it. I felt
No,
your neck.
ma'am.
I felt your neck. You were dead.
I have the constitution of a strong bull, and the pulse you see, the veins, my vascular system is a bit different. It's a bit strange, a medical anomaly, you might say. But I have a question for you, Dolly. One, taking a couple of things from this house. Now, I don't recall leaving you payment, so we'll call that square. But two, I don't appreciate the efforts made by your employer to come and correct a mistake. Now, as I've expressed to him, my next of kin, if there had been an accident, if there truly had been a situation, my next of kin would be want to know what happened to me. So, you've brought him here, unannounced, unwelcomed, You saw Solus. He would have tended to me if I had died, and I would have appreciated that. But you brought someone here to deal with a corpse that does not exist, so we will leave it to you. I want you to answer me truthfully, darling. Does he treat you well?
Pete? Oh, he's all right. I don't have to worry about getting hit. I don't have to worry about bad Johns. I mean, Pete looks out for us as best he can.
Excellent. I'm going to ask you another question pertaining to our encounter the other night. Have you found yourself ill at all, darling? You found yourself sick, lack of breath, sudden fainting spells prior to our engagement?
I mean, only when I haven't used in a while.
You left behind your jacket, which contains a number of your prescriptions.
Yeah, I try not to take many anymore. I really just... There are some guys I have dates with that need a little something to get them in the mood. You know, I'm going to NA now. I'm trying to get clean.
It's a noble thing, darling.
Yeah.
If you'll excuse me, I will return to you with your prescription and your jacket. And I appreciate your honesty.
I'm glad you're
Are
not
you all
dead.
right?
I was
As am I.
real worried about you. You started slurring your words real bad, and then you just kind of fell over.
I have since corrected my own health. I appreciate your concern, but again, your employer, he and I must have a word about his methods.
All right. Just don't go too hard on him.
For your sake, I will not. I will return. I don't imagine Pete would have stayed in the bedroom.
No. You see, was standing a little ways behind you in the hall, and he is just kind of looking around at everything.
Mr. Pete, if I might have a word with you in the kitchen.
Yeah, sure, man. Whatever you want.
It's good to hear that you treat your clientele and your employees well. It's uncommon for a man in your profession.
Yeah, well, there's enough of that going around, I guess.
Too right. Now, again, you were not welcomed here. You were not invited. I understand Dolly's predilections and her concern, but your methodology with dealing with these affairs, have you done this before? And I would like you to be honest with me.
I just won't. There is one of my girls downtown. She got with the John. They shot up together, and I guess he couldn't handle the funk.
Some men can't. Now, admittedly, my outrage is partial to the fact that it is me would have been chopped up and tossed into a river. But if I'm being honest with myself, I admire the initiative.
Yeah, we gotta protect the people that matter to us now, don't we?
Just so. I'm creating something here, Pete. May I call you Pete? I don't have a name, a last name, to call you Mr. anything.
I don't. Pete's fine. I don't think. I mean, no offense. I don't think we really want to know each other's last names. I don't even know your first name. I'm just.
On the contrary, Pete, I would be much inclined to get to know you quite a bit. My name is Velasco. You may call me Velasco.
Okay, I gotta ask here, man. Usually, in the shows that I watch, when the scary guy tells you his name, usually it means he's gonna kill you. I need to know, because if not, I need to call a lawyer real quick to make sure that my kids are gonna get looked after, man. Like, listen, I don't want any trouble, but it seems like I'm about to get fucked up here.
No, Pete, on the contrary. You are in no danger here. Dolly has seen to that. And your actions have seen to that. Your kind hand in your clientele and in your employees has seen to that. Instead, I have a business opportunity for you, Pete.
Do you got a drink? This night couldn't get any fucking weirder.
Of course, what's your poison?
Fuck it, as long as it's strong, I really don't care.
And we'll pull an aged bourbon for this gentleman, and I will. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Bourbon on a single ice cube, spherical in persuasion, is the way to enjoy bourbon, and anyone who wants to argue with me absolutely can. I'll debate for hours. And I will prepare him as such, in a chilled glass with a sphere ice cube and a sort of eyeball measured double shot of bourbon.
Circle ice. That's a neat trick. And he'll take a sip. All right, what's your pitch? Give it to me.
Well, I can appreciate your business. I imagine that it makes you a fair bit of money. Might I inquire how many employees you have under your thrall?
I wouldn't call it thrall. I mean, Dolly's really the only one that actually, listens to what I say. But I got about 8 girls working for me right now.
I understand. Well, my offer is a business partnership. I'm going to offer you a gift as a token of my good faith. All that I ask is cooperation and information. I'll take no share of your funds or your money. You may conduct operations as you have been, and I do mean as you have been, with a kind hand and a gentle heart. In exchange, I will talk to your employees. I will teach them to be a bit more respectful of your order and your station, I suppose, is a good word for it. And you'll find your profit margins increased. All that I ask is information. And that every once in a while, should they feel so inclined, if they encounter, what's that term you used? A bad John, they seek this place as a place of conducting their business.
You want them to send the shitheads here?
I would like them to bring them to this place, yes.
I get what you're trying to do. I do. I don't want to know what your plan is. But if it keeps this under wraps, Sure.
We have an accord then. There is a way that I seal deals, a custom of old practice. If you might indulge me in this.
What are you asking for?
Hand me that steak knife over on your left.
He does so.
It will cut my palm and drip into his glass.
Jesus, man. What the fuck?
An old custom, like I said, so.
Man, I'm not about to be out here drinking somebody's blood just because I... Fuck. And he'll drink the rest of the glass.
That's a good boy.
Alright, man. Freaky shit aside, are we good?
I would certainly say so. I will need a method to call on you so we can conduct our business.
Fuck. He takes a business card out of his jacket. Hands to you. And it seems like he's a car salesman by the business card. It says Pete Maruska.
Pete Maruska.
And he apparently works at a place, Conway City used car lot.
Mr. Maruska, both of your businesses will be quite helpful in my endeavors. And I will uphold my end of the bargain. Your profit margins will increase. You will find your employees have a bit more respect. This will be fruitful for both of us.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Look. I gotta get Dolly back out there, and I've gotta. I mean, fuck. I gotta go home. Jesus, this night couldn't get any fucking weirder.
You may take the bottle if you wish. A gift in all good faith.
You ain't gotta tell me twice. He grabs the bottle and stands up. Come on, Dolly, we're leaving.
Don't do anything stupid now like drink and drive. Be safe out there.
Yeah, you too, I guess. Dolly kind of pops her head back into the kitchen. Bye, Mr. Velasco.
Your jacket is ready for you, ma'am.
Oh,
Along with your prescription.
Ain't you a peach? She grabs the jacket and puts the pill bottle back in the pocket. You have a good night now.
Good evening.
And with the sounds of them leaving, the door shutting, I think that is where we will end this prologue, A Helping Hand. Thank you all for being here, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.